Autism O Gaming. You might want to change that name. I'm just saying, so people might find that offensive. Even if you actually are autistic, that could be seen as offensive. I'm just throwing that out there. And by the way, I'm going to say this outright. There's absolutely nothing wrong with people who are autistic. I know many people who are autistic. All right? And they're perfectly normal, fine, good, positive people. There's nothing wrong with this at all. Viking asks if I'm autistic. Of course. You didn't know? You can't tell?
Can I bring something into this as well that's quite pertinent?
Of course.
Think about Derich.
The chap is here.
And think about pebbling. What are Derich's pebbles to Phil?
They're chat comments, and Phil would call him a nice, positive guy constantly.
And so, let's be honest, the elephant in the room, the Derich thing, where for years, Derich was on my streams and he was a nice guy. He was always adding to the conversation. He chimed in on certain topics where he got excited. He was a frequent viewer.
Philip still maintains Derich is a nice, positive guy that left nice, positive messages.
Yes.
Philip doesn't understand the issues around having somebody like Derich in the community. He doesn't understand because he's mind blind. So he can't perceive how others will perceive Derich being in his community.
And I think, that comes to a very, a different concept of perspective shifting. Mm-hmm. That comes quite naturally to neurotypical people. You can sort of see, for example, if you have, somebody who is a pedophile in your community, what about all those people who had some experience of being harmed in those ways? They are going to feel, immediately threatened. And what sort of message, are you sending? Are you somehow saying, this is okay because you are inviting, that person to your community and to just be kind of part, of the group? If you are looking at it strictly speaking from Phil's perspective, it's, like he hasn't, as far as we know, done anything to Phil. Mm-hmm. The only thing that Phil experiences from these guys is, nice admiration, pebbles, nice comments. So from Phil's, very kind of self-centered perspective, this is a nice person because he haven't really, seen anything else from him other than that niceness. To be able to then shift that actually, other people are perceiving Derich in a very different way because of this or because of that. It takes a certain cognitive ability and skill that a lot of autistic people are lacking. This is a really good example of that difficulty with perspective shifting. And there was a long sort of video of a conversation between Phil and, somebody who was trying to give him very good advice.
I think that was the PPP Andy and Josh interview.
Yes.
Yes.
That says he has no power whatsoever on my streams whatsoever.
But he's allowed in your streams, though.
Yes, he is.
But he has playlists of little kids on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we publicly address this formally? This is good.
Let's
we can finally do this.
Let's talk about this.
Real.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
Why is
All
he allowed to be a member of your community when he's such a creep?
That's the one thing that's really fucked. Yeah.
Here's my philosophy. You guys can completely disagree as streamers yourselves, and everyone out there watching, you may also disagree as well. All right, but allow me to lay down my methodology here.
Sure.
Okay. I'm a content creator. Every day I put on a stream. I'm trying to entertain an audience. I'm trying to make a living. I got to chat. People come in, people come out. I see people from all walks of life, people from here, there, and everywhere who attend my streams. And I don't judge anyone for anything but what's going on in my stream. Okay. If I see someone in this stream doing something disgusting, having awful things said, or they're breaking the rules, they're out of it. I have rules laid out. Actually, my stream, I think, is a little bit more lax than others because I used to be known as like the moderator heavy guy. And now I almost don't have any moderators anymore. I kind of handle it all myself. But anyway, my philosophy is what goes on in my stream is the extent of my responsibility as a streamer to take care of. Now, anyone out there who makes content, do you personally know every single person who's on your stream? Do you know what their life is like behind the scenes? Do you know what kind of stuff that they're into? What, their kinks, their bullshit, what they post on their social media? Of course not. How in holy hell would any of us ever know what all of our viewers are doing? Nor is it in our realm of responsibility to have to actually look into that? You understand? These people are just here to watch me. That's all I care about.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying. You don't know everyone's backstory. You can't control everyone. Makes sense. But we have verifiable evidence that Derich is a pedophile. He has playlists of kids, and it's really weird fucking shit. And this is the one thing Ashton and I are like, what the fuck is
what the
I get what you're saying.
And
I get
Josh
what you're saying.
looked into it yesterday. Let's let Josh. Josh, what do you think about what Phil just said?
Yeah.
It's not just this. Knowing about it, like when you find out, like you have to do something about that. And from what I understand, the big point of contention is not just that he's there; it's that other people, who are in your community, who are in your chats, have pointed out that this guy is who he is, and he seems to be getting a layer of protection that people are able to observe. He seems to get away, according to the people that watch, he gets away with a lot more than other people would. Just in it's suspicious to them. I don't know. I've not seen this, but that's what that's what they say.
You don't even know what they're saying. You just think that somehow he's getting some kind of protections in my stream, is what you're saying.
Yeah, either from people in the chat calling it out, or just in regards to his behavior. Like apparently he spams a lot and he gets a pass with that, and people suspect that there is some kind of association there where he gets a pass. Like for instance with the thumbnails, because they say that he has like a monthly vacation, and during that vacation the style of your thumbnails changes, and that is how they come to the conclusion that the thumbnails are being made by him, because they don't get made by him when he's gone.
He's literally never made anything like that for me whatsoever. He's, like I said, the only thing he's ever made is 2 tier makers, I believe, over the last year.
So he has made stuff though.
He 2 tier makers, and one that I used on a stream and one I did not.
But brother Phil, like you can't have a pedophile making stuff for you and part of your community in a broad sense, right? Like you should probably just ban the fucking guy and send him packing. And I think you'd get a lot less shit if you did.
They were really trying to explain, why, Derich should not be in this community, and they were very patient and, giving a lot of examples and repeating the message and trying their very best. And there was still zero evidence of Phil being able to shift his perspective and actually, kind of internalize what they were saying to him. So he was agreeing, but I don't think, in his mind, his kind of outlook was shifting at all.
And I'll give you an example, Logan.
Yes.
Right? Now, my background is a psychiatric nurse, dementia speciality. Now, a lot of people with dementia have very poor communication skills because of the dementia. So my skills were based on physical observations. So, as an example, it's like somebody who's 600 pounds in weight telling you adamantly that they go to the gym 3 times a day.
So this is me after about 3 hours of sleep. We're all super tired. We did not get much sleep, but Ricky is up, chipper as ever. But all 4 of us are about to go join the gym.
If you observe the situation as it arises, the person's bedbound, they've not been out of their house in 5 years. How are they going to the gym 3 times a day? Doesn't tally up. It's not congruent.
Right.
And like, if you think about it, I'll bring it down to what Anna's just said about Phil not mentally able to articulate the points that were being brought up from the interview about Derich. It's like asking a double amputee to pick up a cup of tea. Right. It's not going to happen. There's no evidence it's ever happened.
And I've tried to explain this to a lot of other either viewers or other detractor creators that have like sort of questioned on it. Sometimes Phil is just not equipped to understand certain things or do certain things. And whenever I say that, people say, oh, you're giving him a pass on something. And I'm like, no, I'm just being realistic. There are some things mentally, emotionally, and cognitively he just does not have the tools for. And I think it's a mistake to treat Phil as neurotypical or anything near it. And I think once you completely accept and operate on the notion that he is he is not neurotypical, and to be fair, none of us are. No one is neurotypical, but he is incredibly far from where normal limits are. I think perspectives will shift if you start looking at him in that way.
Well, mine certainly shifted when I started these videos. I mean, it shifted a lot. That's just me personally. But yeah, I think there's some really good material that you've got there regarding the situation around transactional friendships and Derich, and you know what autistic people get out of it. I think got some good stuff there.
Yeah, I think transactional friendships is something that I definitely want to dive deeper on, because almost everything is a transaction, because he will constantly say, what do I get out of it? What do I get out of it? Whether he's talking about his viewers or someone he's trying to collaborate with, he'll say, I got nothing out of it. So everything is transactional for him.
Well, then I don't care about you. You're boring. Really, like, I'm trying to get interest, but I give up. I'd much rather have a show where we can have content where we laugh and we enjoy each other's company and we talk, rather than every night I have to fucking bust my ass trying to get people to be on this fucking show. I don't care. This wasn't, the whole idea was it was supposed to be DSP Asks It. Remember, this was a show I was going to do on my React channel a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it was going to be an interview series. And I really enjoyed doing it. Like, I wanted to do it. And I couldn't do it because of the bullshit side scroller stuff. So now that panned out and passed away. No, it passed by, I guess I should say. It kind of died out. No one cares about the side scroller shit anymore after I fucking felt and cranked the shit. So now it's like, okay, do people actually want to do it or not? I guess not. So I don't care. All right. The king has much better fucking things to do with his time than wasting time talking with these people every night and then getting nothing out of it because they're just fucking unprofessional bores, quite frankly. All right. So that's that.
I don't know. I think maybe that's not that different to what, how neurotypical people also operate. Mm-hmm. I think the big difference is that, the transactional element is a little bit more concrete, with autistic people. We kind of use tokens and things that are a little bit less abstract. But like, surely if you are in a relationship, you are getting something of it, both people love each other, or, they are good friends. There is, some emotional connection that is pleasurable, something is happening that is keeping this going, rather than just, two strangers, right, and there is like zero chemistry. So, on some level, the relationships are always two-way street, and something is happening between people, whether it's kind of gonna be happening in that more abstract sphere, just around feelings and emotions, or whether there is, an exchange of more concrete stuff, that will be that difference between right, how neurotypicals and autistic, kind of do friendship. But I think friendship is always a two-way street, right, on some level.
You could argue it, and I think it's wise to do so, that all relationships, if you really look at them, are transactional in some sort of way. Even if it's as simple as, spending time with this person makes me feel good, and I hope that they enjoy my company too. Ultimately, that's why we end up forming relationships with people, whether it just feels good to talk to someone, or we can collaborate on something like we're doing right now. This is pretty much a transaction in a way, not to come off as too cold, but I mean, we're people who have common interest in talking about a weird 42-year-old autist. And we're having fun talking about him, but also an interesting video will come out of this, and the two of you are enjoyable to talk to. I feel like everybody is getting something out of this conversation. So Phil's
dump on the subject of my special interest. Right. So I'm having a very good time. I'm just talking about autism and, things that relate to my work, which is my special interest.
Right. But I think for a lot of more neurotypical people, what Phil doesn't understand is a lot of the transactions are sort of abstracted by other things. Meaning, I like doing crossovers with other collaborators. I have people come on my streams all the time. Everybody knows this, but I don't do it because I just want to get more views. I do it because I think some people are fun to talk to, and I think we can have a good time and make an entertaining thing. For Phil, he's looking either for a boost in his online clout or for money. and it's very, very naked. Whereas if you find someone you can collaborate with that is fun for you to talk to, you like spending time with them, and you can make something good out of it, everybody sort of wins out, but it's not nakedly transactional. That's I think the difference between the average person and Phil. For him, everything is about what return can he get out of it, and that is the easiest way to repel friends, in my opinion.
Is it a hobby or is it a job? Because, in
Right.
many ways, I kind of look at his streaming, that kind of 10 hours a day, and, there is a lot of kind of monetary return. Maybe it's more, better defined as a job than a hobby. And, a job is going to be more transactional. You are providing a service to people, which in this case is sharing a content that they like, and they pay you back.
Right.
He calls it a job, doesn't he, Logan?
He calls it a job. Okay, so I want to pivot to something else and get both of your opinions on this, because he calls what he does 3 things at the same time. He calls it a job, he calls it his hobby, and he calls it his passion.
I got to play stuff on my streams that people want to see me play, because this is both my business as well as my hobby. If I ever play Metaphor, maybe it's something I have to do in my private life if I ever have time, but no one really cared to see it on stream, okay? I have to do things that will work for an audience, because this is both my passion, but also my job. And that's the reality of it, okay?
Do you think that him saying it's my job and it's my hobby at the same time, do you feel like that is a form of misdirection or manipulation to make it seem less transactional when it is in fact transactional?
Can I come in on this one very quickly?
Of course.
Right. I think a lot of people give what Phil's saying too much attention.
Okay.
He's telling you it's his job. He's said that many times. Whether he uses the other 2 terms is neither here nor there, in my mind. If you notice, he doesn't say... Mostly, he doesn't say it's his job when he's having a meltdown. So when he's having a meltdown, that's when he says, oh, it's my passion, it's my hobby. Anytime Phil has a meltdown, I write off 95% of what he's saying. Because it's just white noise. It's just bullshit. Because he's so emotionally dysregulated at that moment in time. Whatever he says, whatever he's saying, cannot be accurate. It's not accurate. It's not happening.
Okay.
That's just my opinion anyway. I'll let Anna talk.
Well, I think those 2 things are not necessarily mutually exclusive. And when you kind of look at really successful autistic people, like autistic people who are making a lot of money and, are professionals in their fields, that's when our special interests, our passions are aligned with what we do for work. Medicine has been my special interest since I was about 5 or 6. I had one track mind, and the only thing I wanted to do in life is to become a doctor. I am a doctor. I'm living a dream.
Okay, great.
So, often working does not really feel like working. I kind of go and do, 8 hours nonstop, and it feels great because this is what I always wanted to do. It fits exactly with my special interest. It fits with my strengths. I'm very passionate about what I do. But it's also a job, like people pay me very good money for me to be doing what I do. And they pay me very good money because I'm actually, pretty good at what I do because, I'm so passionate about it and it aligns with my strengths. So, sometimes, you have this, perfect Venn diagram, when your passions and your job actually happen to converge. And that's when you have success. And I think that it's even more prominent for autistic people than your kind of population in general.
Okay.
So my wife just contradicted what I said. I am felted.
Get felted by your wife on someone else's channel. That was part 2 of Analyzing Autism. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. And as always, big ups to Anna and Who's Poppin' for giving me the time. And thank you so much. If you liked this one, you'll probably like part 1, so go ahead and watch it. Links to the playlist are in the description. And come by next week. We'll be discussing DSP's weird communication tics and habits. See you then.